James was driving his Honda down a highway in Utah. That's when a sleeping driver hit the median barrier, flew into the air, and crashed into James' car. Lucas was checking his right side view mirror when traffic slowed down for construction up ahead. He slammed on his brakes but only slid on the icy, snowy road. Luckily, he managed to get the truck under control. Roadster had his Tesla parked on the street when a Bentley came speeding down the street, ran a red light, and T-boned a Porsche Panamera. Unfortunately, his Tesla wasn't spared. They hit it too, completely wrecking it. The other luxury vehicles were totaled, and their drivers were taken to the hospital in critical condition. Sean was rushing home to his wife after finding out she wasn't feeling well. To save time, he tried to overtake another car on a sharp curve. Inconveniently, another car was driving in the oncoming lane and they collided head-on. Thankfully, his wife was able to get assistance from someone else. Saku had organized a rally event on Italian mountain roads. The roads were very curvy and drivers had to demonstrate great skill to keep their cars on the road. Even so, there were a lot of crashes, as you can see in the clips he recovered from the dash cams of the rally drivers. This emitter was driving his car at a high rate of speed when he noticed a stalled car around a blind curve. He swerved to the left before going to the right, but there was also an oncoming car to the right and they collided head-on. This emitter was driving in Utah when he saw a car driving toward him behind a narrow road. I thought he would avoid the collision, but he ended up hitting the car with his side view mirror and fender. Luckily, nobody was injured. Watch what this emitter's dashcam recorded while he was waiting at an intersection. A Toyota driver rear-ended another car that was stopped at the red light. It looks like that Toyota is totaled. What do you think? Let us know in a comment. Lucas was helping a car accident victim when a truck's brakes failed and it smashed into the already wrecked vehicles. Thankfully, the cars were unoccupied at the time. This emitter was driving his Tesla Model S when another driver failed to yield to him. He smashed into the car before the other driver just drove away. His Tesla sustained serious damage. If a crash like this happened in real life, what do you think insurance companies would pay? Estimating the damages, I'd say $15,000 for the car itself, $5,000 for the other person that was hit, $20,000 for hospital and medical bills, so a total of $40,000? Here's the crazy thing though, insurance companies would probably offer less than half of that amount. And that's because their job is to pay you as little as possible. That's where this video's sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, comes in. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm with over 800 attorneys nationwide and has recovered over $13 billion for their clients. They take on insurance companies and fight to get their clients the money they deserve. Statistics show that hiring a law firm increases the average size of an insurance settlement by 3 times. The best part? You pay nothing up front to work with Morgan & Morgan. The fee is free unless they win. If you're ever injured in an accident and want to get the compensation you deserve, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/whambaam or dial #law #529 from your cell phone. Jazirk was driving his BMW when he ran a red light before getting stuck under a truck's trailer. That was like a scene from an action movie. This emitter was driving behind a red sedan when another car pulled out directly into its path. The sedan tried to stop, but the driver was going too fast and couldn't avoid an accident. Thankfully, both drivers were okay. Ryan witnessed a crazy police chase. When the police suddenly appeared from behind a hill on the road, they launched into the air and smashed into Ryan's car. After casually totaling Ryan's car, the cops just kept chasing after the suspect. This emitter was driving his hatchback when he decided to floor the gas pedal. That caused his rear wheels to lose traction and he spun out. He almost saved it, but then he hit the guardrail. Little man was driving along when another driver made an illegal turn. He turned left from the right lane, crashing into our submitter. Our submitter was pushed into the oncoming lane before crashing into a tree. Mr. Speed Racer showed us how to turn a car into a pancake. That was some incredible speed, and the resulting crash is insane. Husky was patiently waiting at a traffic light. When the green light finally appeared, he started moving only to get T-boned by a red light runner. Raider was testing out his BMW 135i. When he noticed an accident scene ahead of him, he slowed down and merged into the right lane. He then wanted to overtake a box truck, so he merged to the left. The driver of the box truck did the same thing and crashed into our submitter. This submitter was driving his Miata at high speed. He was fighting for the second place position when he crashed into a concrete barrier and was sent rolling. Even watching this clip hurts. T was driving his Satsuma in the rain on an unpaved forest road. That's when he lost control on a curve, flew into the grass, and crashed into a tree. He got out of his car to inspect the damage and to collect his front bumper cover. He's lucky he was able to walk away from an accident like this. Razor Wolf Pro was driving his rally car at a high rate of speed. He decided to overtake traffic on a long curve. Suddenly, a car appeared in the oncoming lane and he couldn't avoid a head-on collision. This initial crash caused a multi-vehicle accident. Axo was driving his Bugatti when he ran a red light and T-boned a Ford Focus. As a result, his car received some pretty horrendous damage. Ivan was driving along in his Volkswagen Golf when he ran over some nails, which punctured his tires. He was unable to stop in the intersection and crashed into a guardrail. Unsurprisingly, his car was totaled and he replaced it with a new Infiniti Q70. He'd owned that car for just 5 weeks before this happened. He was stopped at a red light when he was rear-ended by a distracted driver. The driver took off, making it a hit and run. Thankfully, they were later caught by the police and arrested. In the end, the perpetrator's insurance provider paid for all the damage to Ivan's car. Dominic was driving downtown when the driver in front of him unexpectedly hit a concrete planter. This bounced him back onto the road before he crashed into a pickup truck. Dexter was driving his sports car when a driver in the left lane made an illegal turn, crashing into Dexter's car. To top it all off, the driver fled the scene. In this clip, Lucas was behind stopped traffic on a small hill. That's when vehicles in front of him started sliding backward before bumping into Lucas' semi-truck. Simply American's Tesla recorded this crazy event. A school bus was rolling down a foggy street at high speed and totally out of control. It smashed into his Tesla before crashing into an electric pole. Swaru was driving behind traffic when he took a phone call from his boss, distracting him from the road. He didn't notice the traffic ahead had stopped, and he rear-ended the car in front of him. Alexander was attacked by the driver of a gas car while he was driving his Tesla. Looks like this guy doesn't like electric cars. Alexander sped up to catch the guy, then brake-checked him. After the attack, he was left with severe damage to his Tesla. TJ was driving his Volkswagen when he ran a red light. Unsurprisingly, this led to him getting T-boned. He was then pushed into a truck in the oncoming lane, which T-boned him again. Miraculously, everyone survived this accident. This submitter was driving to work late one night when a BMW driver ran a red light, forcing our submitter to T-bone him. The silver car driving next to him hit his passenger side and struck the right repeater camera, destroying it on impact. Nickel was driving his Hirochi SBR4 Electric Edition in a roundabout. All of a sudden, a Mustang hit him from behind at high speed. It turns out the Mustang's brakes had failed. This is a good reminder to replace your brake pads on schedule. The Mustang also had a dash cam, but the driver admitted fault at the scene without the footage being used in the investigation. Trey was on his way to deliver some tables to Page, Arizona. An unexpected traffic stop appeared, and Trey didn't have enough time to stop before colliding with the truck in front of him. There wasn't enough time for the truck behind him to stop either, so it slammed into him as well. The repair cost for the damage was about $3,500 US. Corey was headed down a highway when some coyotes hopped out in front of him. In spite of his best efforts, he still hit one of them. Luckily, it survived. Husky was driving a stolen Honda at high speed. Wait, does this say stolen? I guess we have some unsavory submitters out there. Anyway, he was cruising in traffic when he got a bit overconfident. He flew off the road before rolling over a few times. I suppose that's a kind of instant justice, wouldn't you say? Danny Zero was pulling out of his driveway when he was T-boned by another car. After police arrived, they determined the other driver was drunk. Samuel was testing out his newly tuned car when a Prius driver lost control and flew into his lane. Thankfully, the Prius driver was able to get out of the way in time, but Samuel will probably need some new pants. Mo was driving his Tesla when the driver of another one ran a stop sign and caused a terrible T-bone accident. Tyler was late to work, so he was speeding around traffic. That's when he came around a corner and smashed into another car. His Lamborghini was totaled. I want to know what he does for a living. Alex was driving his truck behind a police car. Suddenly, the officer stopped for a green light and Alex bumped into them. David was transporting farm equipment when he got stuck on the railroad crossing. Of course, that happened to be the exact time a heavy train was approaching. He quickly left his truck and ran away before watching as the train wrecked his semi-truck. Train 1, Semi 0. David was driving his semi-truck down a highway in Tennessee. Unfortunately, he went a little too fast into a curve, lost control, and rolled over. He ended up upside down in a ditch, but luckily he was able to get out uninjured. Corbin was driving very fast in winter conditions. Suddenly, traffic appeared in front of him. He slammed on the brakes, but they didn't help at all. He rear-ended a car before running into a tree. David sent us a clip of another illegal turn. He was driving through an intersection in the right lane when a car from the left lane turned right. See why you should never do this? CJ sent us some dashcam footage from when a hurricane hit his area. The very strong winds were even moving cars around. Some of them were completely flooded by the time it was over. This submitter was driving on icy roads in Utah after a snowfall. He tried to slow down, but he lost traction instead and started to slide down the road. He bumped into a car, sending it spinning before hitting a car in the oncoming lane. This submitter was driving on a back road when a car from a side road pulled right into his path. Luckily, he wasn't driving very fast. Even though he bumped into the other car, both drivers were okay. Leon was driving on a German highway when he saw a shopping cart in his lane. Since he was going pretty fast and couldn't dodge due to traffic, he slammed on the brakes, but he couldn't avoid a collision. Thankfully, it wasn't any worse. I can't help but wonder where it came from. The cart demon is definitely getting craftier and craftier. Derp was cruising in his BMW M4 on the west coast. All of a sudden, he lost control and collided with a car before crashing into a guardrail. Carter was driving around in his sporty SUV. When he came to a red light at an intersection, he started revving his engine. Suddenly, the driver in front of him backed into him before jumping out of his car and running away. That's definitely some strange NPC behavior.